My name is Memory, and I am presenting on the argument of vaccines versus autism. Let me start by explaining simple knowledge needed to understand autism and vaccines. Autism is a lifelong brain disorder that develops in children at a variety of young ages. It affects those children, some socially, some behaviorally, and some emotionally. Some causes are believed to be environmental and genetic issues. Vaccines are given to help a community of people to prevent diseases that are known to cause death. It stimulates a person's immune system to build up against a specific disease and protect that person from further exposure of that disease. There is a study published in 1998 by Andrew Wakefield that caused many scares in families and prompted more studies to see if there's a connection between vaccines and autism. Through these studies, Wakefield was found to be false in his findings. Wakefield did not produce enough accurate data and only studied about 8 children without a control group. He later admitted to fabricating details in his study. Further studies have been done in other countries like United Kingdom and Canada. In the United Kingdom, they studied over 400 children dating back to 1979. Both studies listed behind me show no difference in the autism rate between vaccinated and non-vaccinated children. Another country that was found comparable in their studies was Canada. Their study took place in 55 schools all throughout Quebec. They studied 27,000 students or more, and as they previously showed similar results to the United Kingdom, and could not fully connect autism and vaccines. On to our own United States, where regulations for studies are a little different than other countries. California participated in a study starting in 1980. They looked at year-Pacific MMR vaccination rates of kindergarten students. Again, these studies have proven against the connection between autism and vaccines. There's further studies that can be referenced from around the world. One of the most recent studies being published in the last month was JAMA Pediatrics. The JAMA Pediatrics study was published April 2018. JAMA studied over 8,000 children, some with autism and some without autism. The main finding in their study was a vaccine pattern. They found that families with autism had less needed vaccines than the families without autism. Let's move on to some personal stories. First, we have Joseph, a young man in my community. He was diagnosed with a form of autism shortly after birth. The more I talked to him about the history of his autism, I learned that he had his first vaccine at the age of 4. We then have the story of Susan Senator. She was mother of 3 children. After having her first son, she made sure he got the vaccines that he needed and good care. But he was later diagnosed with severe autism. Susan had her second son, who she took care of the same as her first son. But her second son didn't show any signs of autism. This was puzzling to Susan, knowing her 2 children were cared for the same exact, but were very different. When Susan became pregnant with her 3rd child, she took it upon herself to research vaccines and autism connection. The first study she found showed that vaccines cause autism. Later on, she found more positive studies. The positive studies stated that vaccines do not cause autism. This made her less fearful of giving her child vaccines. Her 3rd child, a son, has no signs of autism. One last personal story is from the Hotez family. Peter Hotez is the president of Sabine Vaccine Institute. Sabine Vaccine Institute is a non-profit organization devoted to vaccines and immunizations. Along with being president of the Vaccine Institute, he is father to Robin Hotez. Robin has autism along with other mental disabilities. This gives Peter views from both sides, of a parent and from scientific viewpoint. After many years of working with his company and gaining knowledge and data about vaccines and raising a child with autism and knowing when her symptoms presented, he strongly believed vaccines do not cause autism. He of all people could easily blame the vaccines for his family issues, but knowing both sides, he allowed an open, educated mind. Thank you for listening. I hope this good news will relax your minds. In my research, we have found there's no connection between vaccines and autism. Therefore, families should not fear vaccines. Thank you.